Assalamu alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Welcome. This is War Talk. Messenger of the Covenant, that's described in Malachi, the one that will come after Elijah, that will have to clean up a great mess. What mess? Elijah's mess? Of course not. If you read it carefully, it says, I will send Elijah who prepared the way before me. It couldn't be talking Master Prophet Muhammad because he prepared the way before Elijah. He's talking about this messenger of the covenant that will suddenly come to his temple. He is about to suddenly come to the temple. So we're going to talk about some of those things today. But we're going to talk about specifically those 7 trumpets. I'm going to go into some detail about them. I'm going to reveal some information I've revealed before. As I said, we get closer and closer. I'll make it clearer and clearer and clearer. See, the 7 trumpets, 6 of them also represents the 6 wings or 6 winds. Because there are 6 wings, but also represent 6 winds. See, we talk about the 4 winds, but there's 6 altogether. So we're going to define it, the other 2. At least one of them we're going to go into some detail about. This is the greatest war in history. They said this 1-year period will be like none other. Unprecedented time. And we know we had, those of you who are aware, in the creation of the moon, that was a very, very traumatic event. That was like, at that time, no event was like it. See. We have 2 other great serious events, like the time of deprivation we went through when the universe had the maximum extension, and a time when the universe is all one, as the Quran says, and begins its expansion. So at both times, the God has to go through a very, very difficult situation, unprecedented somewhat. But that's not the 2 wars. That's not the 2 wars. See, the 2 wars, one, creation of the moon, it knocked the Earth out of its orbit. It blew about 1/6 of Earth away, called the moon. Ocean of water came flooding back to the Earth. Can you imagine all that? Very, very dramatic event. But it says that this event that's about to occur, that we're leading we're in the midst of, we're at the horizon of it right now. This event will be like no other, unprecedented. It'll be worse than that. See, how can you imagine? How could it be possibly worse than that? Well, we're told it will be. See? And now we see the Earth is acting, the planet Earth is acting up, as the Quran says. It's like, what's going on? They would say, what has become of her? Raging and roaring, high waves, mile-high waves, earthquakes, volcanoes, right? Extreme weather. See, all this is a result of bringing this new nation, giving birth to this new nation. So I'm going to say a couple of things and we're going to move into it. I'm trying to get everyone to understand that things don't happen by themselves. For every effect, there's a cause. There's a cause why these things are happening. You say, well, we're getting more energy and energizing, yes, but it has to be directed. It has to be directed. Like I said, time is transforming energy from one form to another. If there's no transformation, there's no time. Everything stands still. And we got to understand it's the original man, original being called Allah who directs energy. See, we gave the devil's, Yaku's creation, permission to direct energy for 6,000 years to a certain extent. Not maximum. We give him maximum power. Gave him the direct energy for 6,000 years. Right? And how you direct your thoughts. Thoughts is pressure. The whole universe is pressure. But we had the greatest pressure, so we direct. Greater pressure controls lesser pressure. Our minds are the greatest pressure, so we direct and control lesser pressure. We control the universe. We control everything it does. And we gave that power over to KV for 6,000 years. Not all power, not 100%. We gave him some power. And so he would go into battle, and he would win the battle because good weather was on his side. Because his mind was creating good weather. He didn't realize it. See, we gave him the power, but we didn't teach him to understand the full extent of the power. He wasn't even conscious of all the power he had. That's why we gave him prayer. That's why we taught him prayer. To make him think the power was coming from someplace else when it was actually coming from him. That's why we taught him prayer. There's no such thing as prayer before him. That's why we told him to pray. See? So he would think the power was coming from a higher source than himself. So he'd be reminded that we actually created him. See? Prayer was not for us, it was for them. We're the God. Who are we going to pray to? You got Lion Fire, Master Muhammad praises. For real? Who he's praying to? If he's praying to someone else, then we should be looking to Master Muhammad. We should be looking to who he's praying to. Anyway, KV was controlling those events for 6,000 years. Not maximum control, but he had control. Okay. And that ended, right? His control began to end in 1948. See? Because that when Suleiman came online, that's the Antichrist, and they went head-to-head battle from 1948 to take control back. Because we was officially out of energy deprivation on a personal level. We had enough energy to maintain ourselves if we took and invest in ourselves. See, their whole idea was to take and distract us so we would still continue energy deprivation, self-imposed, because we wouldn't be investing in ourselves, we invest in their creation, in their madness, in their vision. And they're still doing that today, and we have many of our people suffering because they have enough energy to maintain themselves, but they don't realize it, and they use it, they divert energy in all kinds of other things, they waste it, so it's being invested improperly, so therefore they suffer in all kinds of problems. As the lesson says, rheumatism, pain in all joints, high blood pressure, no blood pressure, diabetes, and everything else. See? So I want you to understand that. These things, that's why it says, the lesson says, all these things are controlled by the Son of Man. Weather, earthquakes, and all that kind of stuff. Because we control those things. If it says we're the maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, God, the universe, that means everything in the universe is controlled by us. Even Cave was controlled by us. We never gave him full control. I try to get everybody to understand that all this weather and everything you see is controlled by us, because now we come on scene, and so the weather, who is weather affecting? It's affecting our enemies. Because our mind is taking control of everything all over again. He's going to take back his great power. Read Angel. He's taking back his great power now. It's coming from the mind. These things just don't happen. The energy comes from, and we take that energy and energize it, but we give it form, just like the earth. It says earth is mentioned in heaven and earth, but it comes to you but of a sudden. That means earth I was been telling you, earth converts it in the form that we can use. See, we can't just use it as it is, right? And we tell our minds convert it into form, right, that suits us. Energy just doesn't, it's not out of control, it's just not laying there, it's being controlled, and we're controlling it. And it takes energy to have earthquakes, it has energy to take for weather conditions, takes energy to have hurricanes and tornadoes and change of current. It takes energy for that. And who's controlling energy? We are. We're taking control back to them. That's the battle between Antichrist and the Christ, taking control back. See? So we focus our energy, invest in ourselves, we're more effective at it. So he's trying to get you to use that energy that you would normally be controlling yourself for his purposes. As long as he keep you ignorant, then you use, just like he used us back in the fields, he was using our energy, right, for his purposes against us. Hope I'm making that clear enough, brothers and sisters. These things not happen by accident. We're controlling these things. Like a brother asked me, why they allowed us to talk on the internet and everything? How do you think that they came into existence? Our minds brought into existence so to get this message out. Because we forced their mind to do what we want them to do. Now they starting to do what we want. They had us do. They wanted us to do. But now our minds is gaining power. So now greater force controls lesser force. And angels are greater force. So now it's controlling their force, right? And as the force increases, right? And then we have greater and greater control. Because we bring it in. You see evidence of the new creation right now. Because you see all this technology and everything. That's the beginning of our technology. They didn't have this before. This happened before 1948. It's beginning of our technology. This is the embryonic stage of it. We have computers that make their computers look like bumper cars or something. That's how we able to write future history. How we able to navigate through the universe and other things. Amazing things I can't even discuss with you now because you probably don't understand them. This is the beginning. Our nation being born. That's what's evidence is this technology. They think it's their technology. Well, if it's their technology, how come they're the only ones able to produce it? How come all the other European nations are not? All they're able to do is copy what they get from here. Because it's coming from our minds. And it's just embryonic stage. Like a baby mumbling, right? It's like this technology like a baby mumbling. Wait till he starts talking. War talk, brothers and sisters. You're going to wake up. See, it's hard to wake up a God once he goes to sleep. It takes a God to wake up a God. But you're going to wake up. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. See? But right now, you see out there on the bottom left there? Right, left? That's what, right, left, right. The bottom right. See? That's the war between two minds. 1948, Antichrist against the Christ. And we see right now that the Christ is gaining momentum. Because they even saying now, what's going on, man? What's going on in America? I can't understand why all this happening. Now they got food shortages and everything else and distribution and they're not even into it yet. And they said, well, why are we having that right now? I mean, we ain't war nothing. Why are they talking crazy? Because their mind is being distorted. Their mind is being contorted. Their mind is being corrupted. Because they say they can't distinguish between a man and a woman anymore. They're being confused because our minds overpowering their minds. We're crushing their minds, so they're confused. That's a state of confusion. They say things make absolutely no sense. Just like insane asylum, you go there, what they say makes absolutely no sense to you, but it makes a lot of sense to them. War talk, brothers and sisters. You're going to be in a minute. See? But this is just the beginning. Would you all this right? You think this technology is so great? It's nothing compared to what we're going to do. And we're not going to manufacture on the planet. We never did. We're not going to corrupt the planet. We manufacture off planet. And we have technology way beyond this. You got evidence of Master Muhammad's plane, his wheel. They have no idea. They have no clue how to even do anything like that. They know it exists. Just like the angel, they had 2,000 years and couldn't touch it. They couldn't touch it. They couldn't even figure out one verse. One verse, they couldn't even touch it. 2,000 years ahead, and if everybody studied and everything else, they didn't get one verse right. Not one verse right. Go and check. Those of you study 'The 'Angel', go and see if you see anybody had even one verse right. 2,000 years ahead, and if everybody studied and everything else, they didn't get one verse right. Not one verse right. Go and check. Those of you study 'The 'Angel', go and see if you see anybody had even one verse right. 2,000 years ahead, and if everybody studied and everything else, they didn't get one verse right. Not one verse right. Go and check. Those of you study 'The 'Angel', go and see if you see anybody had even one verse right. That's where we are, brothers and sisters. This whole affair is being controlled by us. It says we have control over all things. Allah has control of all things. And what's happening right now, right? You're doing it. Your mind is doing it. You just don't know. Like a child, right? He's doing things. He don't realize he's doing all these things, right? Because he ain't got the knowledge, right? But he's still doing them. So you're the one that's doing these things, brothers and sisters. See? And the angel is an atom bomb that's exploding, right? That's blowing away this reality. That's what these scriptures are. They're bombs that blows away the previous reality. Because that's what they presented. Every time a new reality is necessary, a new reality to come in, a scripture is revealed. Atom, A-T-T-O-M, bomb is released to bring in that new reality, to blow away the old reality. Angels blowing away the old reality. Blowing it away. And you giving form to a new reality. See, when you blow the old reality, you have to bring a new reality to replace it. And it's your mind that's giving form to a new reality. That's why Master Muhammad wants you. Because you space your mind. You say be, he makes it is. That's why I want you. You're the gold and silver. You're the wealth of this country. You're the gold and silver, not metallic gold and silver they're talking about. That's why I want you. Right now you got an abusive husband. Read about David and Bathsheba. See, he saw her, he wanted her, but he had an abusive husband, so he killed the husband and took her for a wife, and they produced Suleiman. It's all in there, brothers and sisters. It's all in there. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. This is not happening by accident. It's not happening because energy is coming from, we have energy coming, right? But we got to give it form. Otherwise, it's just energy. And our mind is greater pressure, we giving it form. And our form is getting rid of this, our form is with a new world coming in. But the angel is the one that's blowing away this world. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Let's move on. Again, let me make a little change here, brothers and sisters. War talk about, we're at war. We've been at war for 500 years. They attacked us. They declared war on us 500 years ago. Now, if that's not war, what do you call it? If that's not war, what do you call it? They attacked us. They kidnapped us. They raped us. They beat us. They destroyed us. They took away our knowledge. They separated our parents and our people. If that's not war, what the hell you call it? And now you got these clowns out here. They going over with the enemy. Because most of them are demons. And if there's an original person that's doing it, they better get their act together really fast. Because how does a nation deal with traitors? The demons, they're not traitors. Right? They're informants and all that kind of stuff. They're not traitors because they work for Master. But those of you that's traitors, that's trying to get your own people to help Master, what does the country do with traitors? You better get your act together real quick. You got pretty much seconds. Master Muhammad came and started the clock clicking. Started the clock ticking. Back in the 1930s. Came looking for us. Looking for his treasure. He said, will the mighty, right? Will the prey be taken from the mighty? From Gog and Magog? Right? Did David take Bathsheba from Her abusive husband, he was a warrior. Yes, he did. He come to get his treasure. We are his treasure. He's the God. See? Suleiman is the high priest, as it says in Melchizedek, Hebrews 7. And he set his messenger, his ambassador, right, to watch over this whole affair, to monitor it, to work it, to cultivate it. See, 40-some years. Then you got this lying-ass Farrakhan. We ain't going nowhere, because he tells you, when he tells you, he tells your enemy. Because that's the whole reason Master Prophet came here, to get his treasure. But he said we ain't going nowhere. So why would he tell us we ain't going back to our God? Because he wants to stay here with his God. See? That's why I tell you he ain't going. He wants to stay here with his God. Because that's what it says. What it says in Mark. It says, when Legion was exposed, oh, please don't make me leave the country. He wants to stay with the Master because he's a demon. I mean, you don't blame him for that. We'll blame ourselves for being deceived. That's why when it says when Elijah came, right, and he saw what he did. He took that calf, that Sunni enemy, crushed it, and made the NOI drink it because he was angry. So how in the hell would you deceive by that fool after you got 42 years of teaching from me and lessons from your God, and you was the fool by this evil, wicked son of a devil, demon? When we told you in scripture that he would be Aaron, we made it clear to you. And you still were deceived by it, and we disemboweled his ass, and we did all this stuff. He showed he was a hypocrite, and you still were deceived by him? Ooh. You better read again. Elijah was very angry. Very angry. And the Lord God was, and Master Muhammad was very angry too. It's a gear train, brothers and sisters. It's a gear train. See? And it's a battle what direction that train's going to go into. It's going to go into negative or positive direction. So we got two guys on the scene. Satan, Antichrist, and the Christ. And they battle for what direction it's going to go in. The battle started in 1948. Both of them conceived at the same time. I talked about that. Okay. The time of Jacob's trouble. We want to talk about these four winds. For the seven trumpets. Unprecedented time, a time of Jacob's trouble. But we'll be delivered out of it. Why is Jacob's trouble? Because that's at the point when the original people face annihilation. The first time in history face annihilation. Well, not the first time, because, in a way, you say the creation of the moon, but all of us original people. Right? See? But you had a disagreement between the two that resulted in a war that broke the planet apart. Because when gods get to fighting, whoa, you're not talking about no little World War I, World War II. See, so now, but this one is this first time in history that the garden himself faced possible termination by an evil beast. That's why it's time of unprecedented trouble. We never faced that before, ever. So here we go. Now, this was said, see, if you read this, right, it says, he said, Son of man, these are the bones of the children of Israel who say our bones are dried up and our hope is destroyed. We have destroyed ourselves. What does that talk about there? If you understand the angel right here, this point where they're attacked. Because they didn't listen. See? Now they're attacked. And now they realize that Suleiman told them the truth, that Elijah Muhammad told them the truth, that Master Muhammad told them the truth, that Farrakhan was lying. Told them, stay here. Because now they're attacked. It looks like they're about to be exterminated. They're about to be exterminated because they're being attacked. And they say, what are we going to do? We can't defend ourselves. and they out to kill us. What we going to go? What we going to do? That's what it's talking about here. Our hope is lost. Our hope is destroyed. Have we destroyed ourselves because we didn't listen? Have we destroyed ourselves? Because we right in the belly of we right in the den of the beast, right within his jaws. See, that's what it's talking about. That situation would be right when Jacob would be delivered. At that point, it's going to get that dark. That's what's going to make our people wake up. So remember that particular scenario right there. Okay? So at that point, they're being attacked. If you look under there, right, that's where America and Britain, God and Magog, they're attacking our people. Okay? But Suleiman has come to the rescue of the saints in NOI. See? Now, this is where he gets rid of Farrakhan and those demons. That's when Messenger of the Covenant suddenly comes to the temple. Suddenly. Okay, now, so I outlined the scenario where that's what they're thinking. They're thinking, we're lost. We're lost. Because they're trying to wipe us out. They ain't trying, they're wiping us out. See? Otherwise, they figure out, see, Democratic Party pulls mask off, and they realize these people is after them all the time. Aborting 22 million plus their children already, putting their men folks in prison for long terms. That's another way of stopping a procreation, right? And then what's this thing they got? They actually taking their children they're aborting and using them for grind them up, and this is the Democratic Party. All of them are bad, but they were so obvious, and you didn't see it. Now you see it. Now the mask pull off, and now you see it. But that was their plan all along. That's why bringing people across the border right now. They ain't too high on the Asians, right? But they will come in because they dilute your vote because they need your vote to stay in power. So they diluting your vote, so your vote's not that significant anymore, so they can just go after you. And now, but their plan was preempted because 2020 came in with that plague, and they knew exactly what that meant. So they know they got to move fast now. So you got to move fast in what they're planning to eradicate you. You see? Because this thing is passing over you. But if you out there with self-imposed energy deprivation, underlying conditions that you listen to them and you divert your energy into that $4,000 a month mortgage and that BMW and all that stuff right there, and you're walking around here with high blood pressure and everything else, right? And now your underlying conditions, no, we ain't passing over your ass. That's why they're trying to get you to invest in their vision, which is destructive to your health, because you only have enough energy right now to maintain yourself. And what Suleiman's trying to tell you, invest your energy in yourself. That's your protection right now. So we're going to talk about this fifth trumpet, because that's the first trumpet that you got to read the scripture. You think the first four, but you read it carefully. The fifth one is the first one. The sixth one is holding back the first four. We got to go further. You think it's the fifth. No, the fifth one is the first one to go. Okay. And the fifth one trumpet, I saw a star out of heaven fall into the earth, giving him the key of the pit of the abyss. See? So the fifth one, that's one on top there. That's the fifth. He's the first one to sound. See? Now these are African nations here. They're African people. See? These trumpets are African people. Obama was African. He wasn't one of us. He was African. His father was African, but he married a Caucasian. He wasn't a demon, but he's the enemy, though. Okay, one thing I'm gonna check one thing right here, quick, brothers and sisters. Give me a minute. There you go. That's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay. Where were we? Oh, okay, fifth trumpet. Okay, we're talking about this fifth trumpet again. Okay. And fifth trumpet, and I saw it start him fall. Okay. The fifth one's getting ready. He's the first one to go. Okay, that's the fifth one. Right. He's also a wind. He's also a wind. See. Now, I couldn't say something till now, but I'm telling you now. That fifth one, remember Syria and Iran? That's an African nation, right? Because that's also the stone that David used to slay Goliath with. That's an African nation that's secretly allied with the Shia. See, you got a lot of secret alliances going, and when they go to war, right, they're going to stab false Israel in the back. See, they're going to get hit. They're going to attack too. See, so when they go to war, they're going to join in the war. False Israel doesn't realize that. See, they think they are friendly with them. I'm not going to name who that nation is, the African country, right? But that's the one that's going to finish them off. See, because they're not going to expect that. See, so I thought I'd mention that. So, and that's the wind that they talk. Because previously I gave the idea that the Shia were the wind, right? Because I wanted to hide that information. But they the wind, because it says in the sixth trumpet, sixth seal, right? It says it was they were shaken by a mighty wind. That's the wind. That's the wind. It's the African country that's going to surprise them in that war. See, shaken by a mighty wind. That's the wind. Okay, brothers and sisters. So that's the fifth one goes here. It says he was given the key to the bottomless pit. Now this goes a little ahead in time because the key they talk about is actually the first trumpet. See, because these are also keys. See, symbolism, these things have different symbolism depending on the chapter, but these are also keys. See, so that's another story. We'll maybe talk about it further on. Okay, now the four trumpets. The fifth one is blown already. Now we get down to the four. Now Michael's angels goes war with the dragon's angels. We already talked about who the dragon is, right? That's us, House of Slod, right? So here's the situation, right? So the war is about to start, right? Actually, I'm a little jump ahead of the gun here because Suleiman actually doesn't. Well, I guess that's okay because when the war starts, that's when he goes to NOI. That's when he suddenly comes to Elijah's temple. See, not this old Mars Farrakhan. No, he's going to change it back to a temple when he suddenly comes to it. See, because the demon war here coincides with the dragon war over there. Both of them happen at the same time. Okay, so this where actually the Shia, they actually. I'm leaving it right here, right now. I'm just giving that because it actually should be covering Europe. That's where it should be right at that point. Well, let me just show that, brothers, because I want to be very clear about this. Okay. This is where we are right now. See, because they got the conflict between America, Britain, false Israel, and the Shia. Got a conflict with them right now, right? They're pushing against each other. You see it getting hotter and hotter, right? Until it gets to the boiling point. The boiling point when they actually are, like say, kinetic. The word they use, kinetic, that means they're actually fighting directly with each other, not proxies or anything. They're actually fighting each other now, but like it's proxies, it's indirect, but it's actually, boom, right? They're slugging it out. Okay. That's where we are right now, right? This is just, Suleiman's not there yet, so I'm going to leave it like that, right? So bam. There it is. Now I'm jumping a few steps here because actually they kick them out, but I'm not, and then they get to war. So I'm concentrating specifically, I'm cutting a few steps. I'm not leaving any, but still the pattern still remains the same. Because what would happen is you see them being kicked out and then they go to war. But I just leave a step out, I just go and show they actually go into war. Because once they get kicked out, right, they get in war with China and North Korea. And they also get in war, because Britain's in war with them, America's in war with them. And so America's at war with Russia and the EU. Now they just mentioned, right, specifically like Germany, right, and the other, they says they're dependent on two resources of energy. The Middle East and in Russia. Russia's a major supplier of oil energy in Europe. Okay? So when they go to war, when America and Britain and false Israel was kicked out, remember, they assisted them. So now the Shia has total control of the oil in the Middle East, total control. What they do? They cut it off. They have total control of what oil in Arabia, everything. Because they knocked out the dragon. Dragon's gone. House of Saud is gone. They done fled back to India. Okay. So now they totally depend on Russian oil. Or the economies, European economy just collapsed. Read chapter 18. When this happens, their economy collapses. Bam, overnight. But the Russian economy doesn't collapse. I'll go into chapter 18 again, a little more detail sometime if we have time in the future. But I do have something out there that explains that. The Russia does not collapse, but the EU economy collapsed because they don't have any oil during this particular time, because they've been cut off. See? So now they got to turn to Russia because they can't get it from America, because America's not giving any oil to anybody, because they're in war now. They're at war with China and North Korea, right? See? And now they're in war with Russia. So they won't give European. So Europeans, they have no choice but to side with Russia. You understand? To keep try to hold on their economy. So they turn on America. They side with Russia because Russia's fueling them. That's the only source of energy they have. They have no choice. So now they side with Russia. So now America's at war with Russia and the EU. They're former friends. They're at war with China and North Korea and Japan. Japan's going to coincide with China. They're not crazy. If they're right next door to China. China's 1,000 times bigger than them. Plus, one nuclear bomb would finish off Japan. You think they're going to side, right, with America in that situation? America not defend them. They're going with China. They already know what America did to them anyway. These people have long memories. So now they're at war with all those people over there in China region. And they're at war with everybody in the European region. America and Britain is being torn apart. See? And when you understand the unsealed scripture, they talk about the firstborn. They talk about Britain at that point in time. See? That's the unsealed version. It said at that point, that plague, right, would force them to let us go. That's the plague that's going to force them to let us go. You're going to see that in a minute. So that's what happens right here. See, that's the wind. The wind, right? You see wind in fifth. That's the fifth one. It's also the wind, right? That's talking about in the sixth seal. It's also the stone that David used, right, to hit Goliath in the head, cut his head off. So here, now this is what happened. They're at war, right? False Israel's out here by itself now. They're alone. Have nobody to protect them. They've been abandoned. See? And they're under siege. Let me look back and show that again. They're abandoned. They're under siege. They're abandoned. They're under siege. Alone. They're under siege. You see? They've been surrounded by the Shia and the African country that's siding with the Shia. And at this particular time, right, you got Suleiman. He's in charge of the NOI now. He's already kicked out Farrakhan's demons, and so he has a national voice because he's going to be all over the news. You can see it, right? Nation of Islam taken down. All this war. I mean, all these events. That's one event because he's out there, and that, you know. And plus, he's been telling them that the war. Because at this point in time, remember, they're all giddy. Oh man, Israel's going to win. False. You know, they said they think it's Israel, right? They're going to win. Right? They're getting ready to take out the God. Jesus about to come back. All that kind of stuff. And he's in charge. Tell them, no, that's not what's going to happen. False Israel is about to be taken out, and they get ready to go to siege. He's telling them before that he's the prophet, and he had all his prophets work with him. The ones you call beacons now, messengers of covenant, they're prophesizing. And he's got the main voice. And so now they're listening, because that's national news, especially once false Israel goes under siege. Because he was prophesizing, right, as soon as the war started, that the war, he was prophesying the war would start, and then he's saying, right, that America and Britain is going to be kicked out. And then they kicked out. Then he's saying false Israel going to siege. And it's under siege. So obviously they're listening. That's national news, even international news. That's why I said this gospel, this angel would preach in all the world, and then the end would come. So now they're listening to him because he got a microphone, right? Because he's in charge of the NOI now. That's what's happening here. So, and also, he's also, at this point, warning. He's telling everybody, right, about the abomination of desolation. He's been telling about that. So now, it says, when you see the abomination of desolation set and stand in a place that should not be, that means false ruler should not be there. So he's warning people, flee. It's time to flee now. Because while they're on the siege, you got couple of days, whatever, wasn't siege, right? Because they're over there, there's nothing, no food, anything going, nothing go out, and everything. They're on the siege. They're eating their own children. It says the fathers eating their sons and sons eating their fathers. That's how bad it's going to be. Because it says the wrath be upon them, because they hate it. They hated all nations. They're even going to be end up hated by America once they actually go down. When they realize, everybody's going to realize they was a lie to begin with. And then America, like typically, is going to blame them. Well, if we hadn't supported Israel, we wouldn't be in this trouble. That's what they do. See? If they're telling a lie, they would do it anyway. See? So that's what's happening. So at this point, right? So let me say a couple of things here. When you see those four winds, see, it shows in the angel key, but they're already here. They're already here in America. See, they just haven't done anything yet. They're here already. Those Africans already here, right? Mostly Christian Africans, non-Islamic. They're here already. See, so when he says prophesy to the four winds, right? See, that means they're listening and they're taking heed. See, they're taking precaution. They're arming themselves. They're arming themselves. See, because they're organized. And Obama's here. See? And they're connecting up with him because he's one of them. They're here already. See? And the Haitians will join them also. The ones that are here. They're here already. I'm going to show you that in a second. See? So, they take precautions. They're listening. See? But the Christians, the demons, they're not listening. See? Because they went out with Master. They're expecting false Israel, because most of them are Christians. They're expecting false Israel to win. So they're not listening. They're not taking heed. They're telling them to flee. See, even once false Israel going to see, they're still, no, man, that means Jesus bound. That's sure. See, they're so blinded, but we don't care because they're demons anyway, that they think they think every time something bad happens to false Israel, that means closer to me. That's closer to their salvation. That's close to, because they read the sealed Bible backwards. So they think the worse it gets, that means that's closer that Jesus comes. Because remember, Jesus was coming. All hope is lost. Remember I told you in the beginning, that's what we'll be saying, our hope is lost. So that means, oh, yeah, that means Jesus is going to be here any second now. So they're not listening. But the Africans, they're all listening. They're preparing, arming themselves, organizing themselves, just in case. You see. That's why it says Suleiman's prophesizing the four winds, because they're listening. Okay? So then, bam, false Israel was gone. At that time, that's when America and Britain, Gog and Magog, right? That's when they actually attacked black folks. I'm not talking about their army, their police force. I'm talking about the people, because now the people is clear. Remember, all the so-called Christians country, their whole idea being is that false Israel is a true thing, and that we see the ham. We born to be slaves. Or that's what they've been operating. They won't tell you that. That's what they're operating on for 400 some years. So now it's clear that we're the true seed of Abraham, because false Israel was gone. So that's clear. It got to be us. Plus, they've been hearing Suleiman tell them. He's calling them devils. He's saying who we are and everything. And everything that he says become totally clear. They're listening. And so what they're going to do? They got the whole. All this is happening to them, right? Because of us. We're the cause of it. We're the source of their pain. We're the source of their suffering. We're the source of the hell that they're experiencing. We're the source of their economy collapsing. We're the source of their plague. Because they're going to be raging the plague. Everything is blowing up in their face. They have war overseas. We're the cause of all of that. See? That's where they're going to see it. I'm talking about your next door neighbor. Maybe the one you're sleeping with. That's where they're going to see it. And they're going to annihilate you. You're the cause of their pain. It's like you have a rock in your shoe. You got to get it out right away. You're the cause of their pain. So they're going to annihilate you immediately. Come right next door and blow your damn brains out. See? Anything that's black is going to be annihilated. And that's where the four winds come in. See? Because the Christian demons, they're going to hesitate. Because they think they can still got away with master. We're Christians. So we're going to see that in a minute. So then, they're attacking. See? And so, that's when Suleiman calls on the force with four winds. See, they were prophesizing, so now they go into action. Why? Because they have to, because they've been attacked. They attack anything that's black. They've been attacked. So it says, right? So we're going to see in a second. It says the first trumpet heard hail and fire having been mingled in blood. It was thrown to earth. And third earth was burned down. Third of the trees. Third of vegetation. Whatever. So when you look under this, let's go to the next one. When you look under this, right? That's the one. It says a third. It says a third of the trees. Third. So in other words, just talk about. Because remember, who's under there? America's under there. That's the third earth, right? False Israel under there. That's a tree. That's the fig tree. It, right? And what's the green and yellow? That's the tares there. All of them being hit. See? Because that's the African blacks. They're fighting back. There's millions of them in this country. They're fighting back. See? And the demons get hit too. Because at first, they're going to be trying to help Massa. That's how stupid they are. They still, they demons, we don't care. They still going to try to hold the master last exact minute. So they get hit too. Because the Africans are fighting back. They're well armed and they're organized. See? And they tear this country, they fight, they tear this country apart. You see what them damage, if we go back and see how much damage they're doing, right? It says it'd be like it'd be hail and fire having been mingled in blood. See? And it says they burn all these things down. Third earth was burned down. That talks about God, America, that's third earth, right? Because right here, talking about this part right here. So this is the earth down here. So it's third. They're talking about this one piece right here. That's what keeps talking about the third. Under this is what? America's here, right? False Israel here, right? The demons are here. Those are what it's talking about. So it says third earth, right? Third trees. False Israel represents the big tree. This represents the earth, right? America, it's third of it, right? Third of greenish yellow. All burned down. There you go. Now I got something else here. It says, and the fifth angel trumpet, and I saw a star out of heaven fall to earth. It's the fifth one. And I said the fifth one goes first. Now what he says, when he's talking about, he says, and he was given, right, and was given to him key to the pit of abyss, and opened the pit, and the abyss stepped out smoke of pit as smoke of furnace great, was dark in the sun and air. Out of the smoke of the pit, out of the smoke came out locusts in the earth. This is where locusts come out. So he's the key. This fifth one here, see this first one here, he was the key that was given to the fifth one. See, that didn't happen when the fifth went out. He had to wait till he got the key. Him was given the key. This one here, the first one, that's the key. He's the one to open up the abyss, and the locusts come out. These are locusts, the tares. They come out. It says they come out where? It says they out of smoke was dark in the sun and air. That's up here. So that means they finally go up here. We'll see in a minute. See? But they get hit first. They hesitate. When I said about Lot's wife, hesitate. Then the second one. See, at this time, right, the wheat, they're in motion. They're out of there. They're out of there. It was the locusts that, right, the Christian demons, those are the ones that hesitated. They're out of there. They're already moving. They're in the wind. They fled. As soon as the abomination of desolation, they took the warning. Because Suleiman was with them, right? They fled. They're out of there. See? They're out of there when that second one hits. They're out of there when the first one hit, actually. They're out of there. See? So you can read it, what it says. Then the third one. See, they're out of there. These are out. They all fled. The ones that hesitated down there, and remember, these are the Africans here in the country, right? That's what they're doing to the country. See? So this one was made bitter. The third one made bitter. We talked about that before, right? So that's what's going on here. See? So they're escaping. They get they're fleeing. Then the fourth one. See, they're all fleeing. Even Lion Farrakhan and them, right? They're all fleeing. See? Because they've been attacked. These people out there eradicate you. The next door neighbor, whatever. They're all armed and everything, coming to blow your brains out because You're the source of their pain. You're supposed to, everything's going wrong with America. America's at war. Remember what was the thing they said that was their biggest fear? That war might break out and you would side with the enemy and fight against them and then flee the country. You better read it, brothers and sisters. That was their greatest fear. Talking about all the people, not just the army. And if they said it was an army and a police force, they wouldn't tell you to flee. Don't go back and go in your house. Don't get your coat because they take time to get to you. But if you're next door neighbor, you ain't. You know, by the time you go in there, by the time you get outside, they better blow your brains out. They tell us the people that you got to worry about. The army, they fighting overseas. They're fighting for their life over there. And believe me, it is a life. It's a fight for life. What they're going to lose. Damn, that's the harvest. All come together. See? All come together. All in one place. Around Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, all in that area. All black folks flee there. See? And finally the Christian blacks, right, demons, you know, a lot of them got wiped out. See, they got caught in the crossfire between the Africans and the devils. They got caught in the crossfire. A lot of them got killed. See, they hesitated, but they finally got the message. They saw it. So they ran, and then what happens? Once they get all together, then we got what we always have. Just like so-called civil rights. They wanted the original people to help them in their integration program. But once they got it, what they do? They abandoned you. They turned on you. They ran to suburbs that massa. Or they came back and ruined your cities and everything else. Ruined your children and everything else for their votes and all that kind of stuff. That's what they wanted you for. Every place they run or whatever is a mess up. Right? They abandon you. They always want you to come together. They want to control the situation. Because they really helping massa. And when they come together right here, they still have massa on their mind. They want all the blacks together, but they think they're superior to us because that's the nature of massa. By nature, they think they're superior to us. Their analytical mind think it's superior. So now they want to run it. All the blacks together, they want to tell, oh no, we should do it this way. We should try to work with massa. We should try to do, maybe we should go in and help tell massa we help fight in the war. They want to control it. And we tell them, hell no. We getting the hell out of here. See? So then you got to fight, read Exodus. Then you got a battle between Joshua's forces, those with Moses, and Aaron's forces. And they go to war. And all Aaron's forces are eliminated. They're annihilated. 3,000 it says. Why that number 3,000? You'll see in a minute. So now we got another war. Got a war with them. See, the demons. See. Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay. And they lose, we cast them back down. Their swine dies, as it says in Mark. They're cast down, cast out. It says 3,000. Anybody understands the angel means each one of these represents 1,000. That's why I said 3,000. They kick back to the devil dies. See? And that's the locust war. Remember he said he was given the key to the pit. Now it came locusts. So they went to the heavens and they came back to earth. And now, because they all gathered together, we all gathered together, and then they was kicked out. We went to war and we had to kick them out, send them back to man. So now they're angry because Master's trying to kill them. And we just try to get them really rid of them. We get the hell away from us. They're thrown out. So they're between a rock and a hard place. They have no choice. So now they're back at war with the Master. That's the locust war. 5 months it will last. 5 months. While America is being destroyed over in the Middle East, over in the Orient, over in Europe, as far as it being destroyed. And now they're in a battle for their life here against the Africans and against the demons. Total war. That started Samson. See? He was angry. He was in prison, everything else. So he got revenge. He positioned himself between two pillars and brought them down. That means he positioned himself between Gog and Magog, right? And brought them down and killed himself in the process. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. I hope you understand. See? But when we go back, I'm not going to go back to it, but when it says, men's hearts will be failing for fear of those things coming upon the earth, because the powers of heaven be shaken, that's talking about the war. Because once America and Britain and falls Israel, right, Gog, Magog, and Dajjal is defeated, that means the powers of heaven been shaken, because they were the powers in the heavens. They are the powers in the heavens right now. They are the powers in the heavens right now. So now it's been shaken. Remember, shaken by a great mighty wind in the sixth seal? So the powers of heaven been shaken. So when they lose it, right, it says men's hearts will be failed for fear of those things coming upon the earth, because the powers of heaven has been shaken. In other words, the earth represents European countries. Now all this hell is coming upon them after, because that was a sign that once they lost in the Middle East, right, that game was up. That false Israel was false. They had no power. And now they fear for all the things about to happen to European countries, all the European nations, all places controlled by Europe. Their hearts are failed. That's how bad how powerful it's going to be, how stressful it's going to be. Their hearts be failing. And they're talking about men being drunk, having to have drinks. They've been walking around because their whole vision has been turned upside down. Because the whole world was based on that vision of false Jesus being a true thing. And they had their whole life, all their patience, all their love, all their faith and everything was based on that. That Jesus will come back. And that was the real thing. And all is shaken overnight. Now they're having heart attacks, right? They're being walking around drunk, right? And the children turning gray-headed because now they have no food. Food is gone. And they're eating their children, and the children are scared to death. They won't stay with their parents, and they can't get out in the street. They don't know what to do. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, what are they going to do? They can't find no food. They can't stay with their parents because they be eating. They're in the street, nobody catch them eating. They're going to go crazy. They're going to go gray-headed. And then here comes China. They're fighting over there, but now China hits here. The goat comes across the sea. His feet not touching land. That means he's coming over the ocean. Now, after all that, here he comes. With death, with the Hades behind them. See, that's another thing. They think Indians going to go against them too. Everything earth, all their, it says all their lovers, says, talking about the whore, all their lovers going to abandon them, all of them. Everybody thought his allies going to abandon them because they hadn't begin with. The only reason they was friendly because they was afraid they was going to attack them. Now their foot has slipped. Everybody's turned against them. Remember that song, Fair Weather Friends? Now the weather's bad. Those friends are gone. So Indians going to be right behind China when they come to attack. And the other beast, right, he's already here. Obama is already here because he's the one leading this whole thing. All these Africans here, they're going to be, right? They're going to be led by him. They're going to, gravitate around him. They're already here. I'm trying to bring in the focus for you, brothers and sisters. So now here they come and say they're going to come and they're going to take and lay siege all the cities. So no food coming in and coming out. These people are going to be starving to death. And they can't stand going hungry for a day, for an hour. It says it's going to be so bad, right, that women will give, if they're about to give birth, they're going to do it in secret. Magic, all that pain, everything, they can be keeping their mouth shut, give a secret, they don't want anybody to know. Because it says specifically they're going to eat their own children. As soon as the child is born, they're going to eat it. And also, and bastard, then when he share with the rest of their family that might be around. They sure ain't going to cook because you can smell it a mile away. So they're going to eat it raw. That's how bad it's going to be. So wrath will be upon these people. And we're only days away from it. So I hope you understand, bro, since I try to explain these 7 trumpets, what they're all about. In more detail. I never explained as much detail as I'm explaining it right now. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're days away. See? So all these clowns out here that's been deceiving our people, talking this stuff, they script tease and all that kind of stuff, you can be a part of that. See, you may be on the menu. You might be for supper. Because we don't want you. See, because our people are lost because of lack of knowledge. Who is the cause of lack of knowledge? You. Because you're going to playing games. You know you don't know the truth. Oh, Elijah Muhammad messed with black man's own. No, really? Oh man, but you got to fight Elijah because he's in Malachi. What about the message of the covenant? Now they're trying to tell you, well, Farrakhan is the message of the covenant. Really? Well, what about what happened to Aaron? See, what we tell you is totally true. We don't take and play games with the scripture. We tell you exactly like it is. Farrakhan will come, teach Elijah, right? After him will come Aaron, who will turn people around, try to turn hearts back to Egypt, right? He will lead people to destruction. And then after him will come Joshua or Jesus, that same name, just different language. He would be the messenger of the covenant, will come and clean up Aaron's mess and take us back home. Farrakhan, I tell you, you ain't going nowhere. So he calling God a liar. He's a son of perdition. He's trying to tell you, oh, it's a Jew. No, it's a singular person. He's sitting in the seat of Elijah. So you mean all the Jews sit in the seat of Elijah? It's very clear. See, but the problem is demons surrounding him and agents. And they're making sure that he stay on track. Because he's with them. And they got people walking in the darkness of their shadows. See, because they're blocking the light. When you stand in the way of the light, right, you cast a shadow. And that shadow is darkness. And they block our people walking in darkness because they're blocking the light. See? But we're getting ready to blow them away. And then the light's gonna be very bright. But I tell our people, they can block it, but there's light switches all over the place. Just read Exodus. Right there. You can't go wrong if you just follow what that says. There's light switches all over the place. But they that's blocking this light, it says, those who fall against this stone, we broken. But who those stones fall on will be crushed. And we're going to crush you. Because you should have been on top of this message. Because that was the whole reason why Elijah Muhammad's purpose is to prepare the Levites, right? Because they're supposed to build a bridge between Elijah and Suleiman. Instead, they built mansions for Farrakhan. See? And so when Elijah showed back up, Moses showed back up, he's very angry with them. He crushed that Sunni as the golden calf into dust and made him drink it. They shouldn't have been so damn stupid. But everybody over there ain't stupid. Because it says they're going to be taken down within. And that's in progress right now. You better watch out, Mr. Farrakhan. You might look around, ain't nobody to empty that bag that you been shitting and pissing in. You might have to empty yourself. I don't know how you're going to do it. Because you can't walk. I mean, that's a joke right there. He's the Messiah. He's disemboweled. He's in a wheelchair. What, are you going to beat him to death with his cane? That's a joke right there. That tells you right there there's only demons and idiots and agents that's with him. Because anybody got any sense would not be within 10,000 miles of that fool. But disembowelment is a punishment that's reserved specifically for hypocrites and cowards. Allah would never put that on a messenger or a prophet. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay, here you go, brothers and sisters. Again, messenger of the covenant, breaker of 7 seals, Suleiman, right? There's many messengers of the covenant that work with us, beacons, who are there for when the abomination shows up, right? To be a beacon, a rallying point. To get your ass out of there to safety. They're a rallying point. And they're learning. And their light's getting brighter and brighter and brighter every second. See, they're there for your purpose. They're there to save you, brothers and sisters, because they love you. Nobody's making them do it. They already earned their ticket. All they got to do is, they already earned their ticket. All they got to do is sit in the train and wait till the conductor pull off. They decided to get off to be a beacon for you to get your ass on that train. So any one of you go against them, you're going against me. If you're going against me, I have no mercy for you. You better read it again. It says, Son of Man will send his angels out and they gather all that offends. All that offends. So if you're offending those people that's working with me, right, you're one of those offenders that says they will cast theirs into hell. We're not playing here, brothers and sisters. This is war talk. We're at war. We've been at war 5 years. So those of you that surrender, keep on surrendering. And you're going to get just what the master get. Who told you to give up? Who in the hell told you to give up? They've been beating us, raping us, and everything else. They destroyed our parents, destroyed our children, right? Destroying them now. They did all kinds of inhuman things to us because they're beasts for 40 some years. And you give up? Who told you to give up? Who told you to stop fighting? So that makes you a traitor. And what do every country in the world ever existed? What they do with traitors? Who told you to give up? Who told you to start loving our enemies? Oh, Jesus said, love your enemies. Did he tell you that? Did you read it carefully? Did you read the whole sentence? Read all the whole regular verses. It says, by doing that, you're reaping hell fire upon their heads. In other words, you're doing destruction because you don't have a gun, so you use mathematics against them. And that's cause and effect, or a consequence. I'm not going to that. That's a little complicated. But you wasn't doing it because you was in love with them. He didn't tell you to marry them. He didn't tell you to kiss their ass. See? He told you your whole purpose is their destruction, because they're enemy, period. Simple. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no compromise on that. So if you're compromising, then you're going to get, because all the fearful, all disbelieving, all the so forth, right? Your place will be in the lake of fire. We'd be cut off. We don't want you, because we've been at war 5 years. And if you don't understand, it means you're either a traitor or you're a demon. We understand the demons. See? But they're the place to fire too. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.